quarterbacks, Coach? Because Jeff mentioned they brought in a lot of other people. Were
Yeah.
you always sort of itching to have this opportunity?
No doubt, definitely itching to have this opportunity. You know, I grew up playing the position, played the position my entire life, and it's obviously been a goal of mine, and since the beginning of coaching. You know, I've always wanted to get in that room and be able to affect some quarterbacks and everything. And so when the opportunity presented itself and I was able to stand up in front of the staff and talk about a lot of my quarterback philosophies and things of that nature, it was very, very, very fulfilling. And honestly, as I left that, I didn't know whether I, had did a good job or not. You know, you go home and you talk to the wife about, man, you wish you said something one way or the other and things of that nature. But it was definitely fulfilling to get a chance to stand up in front of the staff and talk QB play.
Kenny, what was your pitch? What are your philosophies?
Biggest things for me is honestly the intangibles of a quarterback, right? The leadership, the toughness of a guy, because I feel like a team can rally around that, and when you have that kind of guy behind the center, the team just they have no choice but to fall into that, right? Into being tough guys, and obviously we all know who Coach Fick is, and if you got that guy that's behind the center doing the same things that he's preaching, then it just exudes throughout the team.
You mentioned you kind of always had this goal. Why do you think your career path led you, toward wide receivers and at multiple schools and took this long to be a quarterback?
Yeah, honestly, my career path took that path because of, I think, how open I am. You know what I mean? And it was my chance to get into coaching. I always knew I wanted to coach, and when I first got a chance to be a graduate assistant, it was to help to help the wide receivers, and I dibbled and dabbled in helping the quarterbacks, and so whatever I'm going to do, I'm going to be all in with, and I dove into the intricate details of how to teach wide receiver play, and after a while, you fall into, hey, this is it. I'm having fun with it. I love every bit of it, but, like I said, once the opportunity arose, man, I just knew that this is really what I wanted. It was a dream of mine, right? And it's still fun to be in that wideout room, but, man, it's a lot of fun to coach some quarterbacks.
What do you like? What do you like about the What do you like about the quarterbacks that y'all got out of the portal and just how they can fit this system?
Yeah, the leadership of those guys right now. Some of the same stuff that I just talked about intangible-wise, those guys stepped in and understand that they don't have the time and things of that to just kind of ease their way into things, right? They have to jump in and, hey, guys, you're the leader of the team. So right now you jump in and you show the guys that, nothing's too big for you. Nothing's too big for you. You jump in and you lead those guys to understand that, hey, they can lean on you in a time where we're all learning a new offense at the same time. So I like what I see throughout the room. I like the diversity in the room. I feel like these guys are all going to keep growing, and they're eager to grow, and that's what's really, really important in the QB room.
Did you use those last 2 weeks of the season where you were coaching the quarterbacks as well as kind of like a job interview, for lack of a better word? Is a goal for you?
Definitely. Anytime you get a shot to get the role that you aspire to have, you kind of use that as a growing resume, right? Like you're getting to do it on the spot, right? Kind of the same way I left Arkansas, being the OC and QB's coach there, you feel like that you're having a running resume, and not only is the place you're at watching, but everyone around the nation. And so those 2 weeks was a lot of fun, man, to coach the quarterbacks, and I do feel like it played a little bit of a role in order to get a shot, so yeah.
Jeff hasn't been here very long. You obviously need a good relationship with the OC. What has stood out about him and perhaps more of the philosophy that he wants to bring that will help elevate this offense?
I would say Coach Grimes' openness to make sure that he has everyone involved is something that just sticks out first time you get a chance to meet and talk with him. He's open. He makes sure everyone else feels involved. No matter who you are, you have a voice. You have a voice, so if you speak up, he's able to, at least take it into account what you're saying. Whether we build on that or not, it's just awesome to be able to open yourself up and say, hey, I don't mind bringing my idea up because at least I'll be heard, And so he's awesome about that. He's very thoughtful about everything, and he's very, I would say, just helpful, I guess. Anything that you ask him to do, he's going to jump on it, and I got you. So that's him.
You pointed out some of the philosophies you have, for quarterbacks in terms of intangibles. What exactly do you look for when it comes to kind of on the field? Yeah,
number one thing is decision making. I think we play the position where we touch the ball every single snap, and we have to get the ball in the right places, no matter what, whether it's run game, RPO, whether it's pass game, whether it's us pulling the ball and taking a run. But the decision making process is where you see teams take the next step. Teams be great on offense where you got a guy behind that center that can do that. After decision making, then I go into his playmaking ability, right? It's his throwing motion. Can he get better? What's his ceiling as a passer, right? Can he play catch, things of those nature? And then playmaking ability also has to do with your legs. Can you create a second play within the play called, right? Not every time we got the perfect call into the perfect defense. Can you extend for us? Can you extend, get a second play out of that, and things of that nature? So those are probably the top 3 deals that I think of, but with decision making being, one of the top ones, which honestly leads into another intangible of leadership, right? Like a leader is going to get the ball in the right spots at the right time to the right people, and so that is really big for me, the decision making aspect of it.
When it comes to that level what you're looking for in a quarterback, how do you differentiate from like a high school recruit compared to what you're doing in the transfer portal if you're looking for a quarterback?
Yeah.
That's maybe more experience.
Yeah, well, to me, it's a big difference because if you're looking in the portal, you're looking for somebody that can come and affect the team right now. You know what I mean? That guy isn't probably a guy that you're looking to develop much, right? Unless you've lost a lot and you got to get plenty. But when you're looking through a high school, man, you're kind of looking at the projection of that guy, right? How much can you develop that guy? How well can you make him a passer? How much better can you make him, mentally, things of that nature. And so to me, it's a total big difference, especially for a quarterback. You want to make sure you got a guy that, hey, he's got some years of experience. What have you heard about his leadership? Because he's coming in to be the guy or a leader. You know what I'm saying? And so that's really important when you go through that process. But I do think it's 2 really totally different situations.
I know it's not your position anymore, but you coached everybody in that room returning from last season, and there are obviously some tough losses to the portal at wide receiver. What's just kind of your confidence in Vinny and Tretch kind of moving this position forward, given everything that you've lost?
Maybe I'm biased because I did coach them, but I feel like, man, that their progression is only gonna be greater. Those are 2 guys that really took strides this season. Tretch had his opportunities and really took advantage of it, and Vinny all season long, you're just proud of what he does because he just goes out and does his job. And so I just think the mental makeup of those guys and who they are is only going to make them greater. And it's just so crazy that Tretch is only a sophomore, doing it. And so I'm excited for those guys and those progression and seeing those guys turn into leaders too, leaders throughout the room and making sure that they bring people along with them because we definitely have the talent in that room to do it.
Now, I wanted to ask, just because I think you were still the wide receivers coach at the time when Tretch entered the portal. Mm-hmm. How did that just kind of play out where you guys were able to get him back?
True honesty, I knew it would be tough keeping him and Will Pauling together another year. You know what I mean? It was just, it was tough where they kind of eat off each other's plate, if I could, put it in a saying to where I knew it would be tough. And once I kind of got wind that, hey, Tretch, dude, I know you're feeling like he gets the first at hand, you know what I mean? Because he did. He was the older guy and things of that nature. But I'm not feeling like that's what's happening coming up this next season. And so we were able to sit down, talk it all out, and I think he saw the bright side of what he can do at the University of Wisconsin because he wants to be here. He literally wants to be here. He wants to represent the W, and he just, to me, Tretch is one of those guys that embody who we want to be because he is a fearless guy, and that's going to be really, really tough. And so that's who we are. That's who we are. Tough, nasty discipline, man. And so I think Tretch really fits that.
Just to add clarity, you're saying it was probably either him or Will?
Well, I think so. I think so. I knew it would be tough. I knew it would be hard. Like, could that happen? Yeah. We could have, sold the world to them all. But honestly, we're just going to always be honest with these guys. And we just felt as if it was going to be tough, but we tried. And yeah.
You've talked broadly about your philosophy for quarterbacks, but if you'd be willing, can you share what you think you have in these 3 scholarship guys, obviously with Carter, and Billy? I know you haven't seen him on the field yet.
No doubt.
What do these guys bring, each one of them?
I do think these guys bring a certain level of athleticism to the QB room. I think they all have a chance to do different things with their legs, whether I'm not meaning 50-yard runs or things of that nature. And they may be able to do that, but creating that second play like we talked about earlier, I think they all have the athleticism to be able to work a pocket, right? To work the pocket and really give our guys chances to create that second level of kind of playing around backyard ball, right? You watched Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce, a lot of their stuff is off schedule, right? A lot of stuff in the NFL is off schedule, and I'm not saying we're NFL level, but you have to be able to do that when maybe the defense has won, with the linemen or anything with their call and things of that nature. You have to have a guy back there that can kind of be an eraser, and I do see that in all 3. Right now I see 3 guys that are, eager, obviously, in a small amount of time that I've had the chance to get with them, to learn. I think you're going to get much better leadership, and that's just the things that I'm preaching to these guys that I think will be good from throughout the room.
Would you like to add another one in the spring if at all possible? Is 3 enough?
We'll see. We're all kind of talking about that right now and everything. And obviously we got another with Milos as well in the room. And we think that he's pretty good, a good player that can keep progressing along and developing as well. So we'll see. It's definitely a conversation that's around the building right now.
There's a lot that goes into a passing game to make it good. How do you get this passing game to the level you guys want it at?
Yeah, continuity. You want a good passing game, you better make sure that your quarterbacks have great continuity with their skill players, right? Everybody has the saying KYP, know your personnel. The only way that's going to happen is if you get out there. You get out there and you get a chance to throw many different routes to many different people, and you get to know how guys like the ball in many different situations. And I think that all goes back to that decision-making leadership style in a quarterback, understanding who you're throwing the ball to and how you got to get it to that person in order for that person to be able to create more out of the play rather than what is just called for. And so if you want a good passing game, these guys have to get together and really build that chemistry on the field.
How much do you think your relationship with Luke mattered in this process? I mean, obviously you've spent a year here.
Yeah.
You know him a long time. How much did that matter in this process
to be honest with you, I'm not sure. I'm not sure how much the relationship factor may have played a role, but I just know I try to put my best foot forward when I speak about my philosophies and be very honest about it, And so I think that played a role in the honesty aspect that I brought into the interview process and with things.
You were known as a player. You were known as a player, as a guy that could push teammates, and even though you weren't the starter all the time, but how do you maybe transition that into coaching? Is it very similar, or is it a little bit different now that you're the superior in that?
Definitely, I think it's very, very similar. It's just you have a different style of a voice now. You know what I mean? Back then, as a player, it's no secret. I played with a guy named Braxton Miller that was really good, and I was able to kind of push him and say, "Hey, my guy, like you have to speak up in order because the position we play depends on a lot of other people." Right, we need 10 other guys to be doing their job at a high level in order for us to look good. And so at the end of the day, you have to bring people along. And so what I did as a player honestly doesn't change much. I just think it changes in the voice that I have within the room now.
You pointed out, the value of off schedule, but there are times when guys can get too off schedule. How do you kind of strike that balance between playing on schedule and playing off schedule, and how do you kind of approach that as a coach?
To me, it's not hard. Play within the constraints of the offense, right? Like we all have called this play. I think if you got a quarterback that is in the play caller's head that knows exactly why we're calling this play, what we're expecting from the defense, how we're expecting to execute this play, I think you're not getting in many off-schedule situations. It's those times that the defense won, maybe, right? They have coaches, they have scheme as well, and so it's those few times that they may win throughout a game that you want a guy back there that can be an eraser. But I do not think it's hard to not having a guy playing off-schedule too much. If he's playing off-schedule too much, he's probably confused about what you're trying to do scheme-wise. Probably not as prepared as he should be, and so we probably got some different issues that are at hand if he's off schedule all the time.
All good.